On behalf of the Standing Committee on Executive Appointment and Investigation, we would like to welcome Governor Ampatang and Lieutenant Governor Mendola's representative, Mr. John Paul Regis, along with Ms. Shai, the appointees, Mr. Vincent N. Camacho Jr., Mr. Juan S. Salas, Ms. Carolyn B. Sablon, elected officials, dignitaries, and members of the general public. Before we proceed forward with this public hearing, let me first introduce the members of this standing committee. To my right side of the aisle is the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Dauno Manglonia. And next to him is the vice chairman of this committee, Senator Jude U. of Snyder. And next to him is Senator Castro. And I believe on Zoom we have Senator Ron Cabo. I would also like to announce a couple of things in the interest of informational purposes regarding code of conduct during this public hearing. Today, the members of the standing committee is conducting a public hearing on the appointment of Mr. Vincent N. Camacho Jr., Juan S. Salas, and Carolyn B. Sablon to serve as a member of the Commonwealth Ports Authority Board of Directors to represent the 3rd Senatorial District. I believe Mr. Vincent and Camacho also will be serving the Carolinian community. The public will be invited to make comments as to whether you support the appointees before this afternoon. We value your input. However, any comments that is raised that are not directly related with this hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At the same time, please observe minimal noises in disrupting this hearing process, and please turn your electronic to a silent mode. Thank you. Let us now begin. This public hearing is now in session. Today is December 15, 2025. At approximately 1:20 in the afternoon, here are the Vice Speaker, the Honorable Vice Speaker, I'm sorry. Vice Speaker Supi Mavnas Memorial Building, here in the Chamber. This is the public hearing regarding the appointment of Mr. Vincent M. Camacho Jr., Juan S. Salas, Carolyn B. Sablon by Governor David M. Ampatang and Lieutenant Governor Dennis C. Mendiola to serve as a member of the Commonwealth Ports Authority Board of Directors to represent the 3rd Senatorial District. The staff that are going to assist us this afternoon's public hearing, Mr. Devin Macaronas. Sergeant Arm will be Sergeant Ben Terlai. Mr. Guerrero, Sergeant Guerrero. And the IT will be Jonathan Diaz. The LB social media will be LJ Castro, and our legal counsel will be Mr. Joe Bermudez, and they will serve accordingly for this public hearing. At this time, I ask Mr. Macaronas to please call the roll.
Senator Ronnie M. Calvo.
Present.
Senator Manny T. Castro.
Stiga.
Senator Francisco Q. Cruz.
Here.
Senator Jude U. Hofschneider.
EAGI.
Senator Karina L. Magofnia. Senator Donald M. Manglonia.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, there are 5 members present and 1 member absent.
Thank you, Mr. Macaronas. With 5 members present, we have the necessary number to proceed with this public hearing. However, the Vice President of the Senate will be joining us shortly. At this time, do I hear a motion to adopt our agenda?
So moved.
Any second? There's a motion for the adoption of this afternoon's public hearing agenda and was seconded. All in favor of that motion say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries. At this time, I'd like to ask Sergeant Guerrero to please escort all the appointees into the chamber along with the governor's rep. And again, sir, before you present the three appointees to this standing committee, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Hoffaday Zantiro, Honorable Chairman Francisco Q. Cruz, and Honorable Senate members of the Executive Appointments and Government Investigations Committee. For record purposes, my name is Jean-Paul B. Regis, Special Assistant for the Administration under the Office of the Governor. On behalf of the Honorable Governor David M. Apateng and the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Dennis James C. Mendiola, I thank you once again for conducting this public hearing and the opportunity to appear before you today. I am pleased to introduce Ms. Carleen B. Sablon, Mr. Juan S. Salas, and Mr. Vincent N. Camacho, who have been nominated by the Governor and Lieutenant Governor to serve on the Board of Directors for the Commonwealth Ports Authority, representing the 3rd Senatorial District. I am hopeful that this esteemed body received all required documents, including their resumes, which outlines their professional experiences and educational background. Ms. Sablon is an accomplished professional with over 25 years of experience, receiving her Master's of Arts degree on Economics from the University of Hawaii and Manoa in 1999. She had served on various distinguished job titles, including Economic Development Analyst for the former Commonwealth Development Authority from 1999 to 2017. Community Relations Director from 2017 to 2022, at the same time holding the position of an Executive Director from 2020 to 2022 under the TAN Holdings Corporation to the Northern Mariana Sports Association during the 2022 Pacific Mini Games. She later became the Project Management Director from 2022 to 2025. Undoubtedly, a credible individual specializing in project management, economic development, and organizational leadership. Her unwavering commitment to both the public and private sector is demonstrated through her diverse roles and initiatives aimed at enhancing and improving the standards of our community welfare. She currently serves under the organizational Data Integrity Manager at the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation. Secondly, Mr. Salas retired as an Assistant Chief of Police in 2005, receiving his Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice from the University of Guam in 2001. He is a dedicated and an accomplished law enforcement professional throughout his career, serving the Sinumay Department of Public Safety, the Sinumay Attorney General's Office, and the U.S. Marshal. After retiring from the Sinumay Department of Public Safety, he continued his journey and pursued his endeavor, working as a criminal investigator for the Office of the Attorney General in Guam from 2006 to 2024, conducting white-collar crimes, public corruption, crimes against person, as well as property investigations. With 38 years of law enforcement experience, he had served with distinct honor and made significant contribution to the public sector, driving positive changes and progress within our community. His impressive career highlights notable achievement and steadfast dedication to promoting public safety and the standards of our community in general. Lastly, Mr. Camacho he obtained his Master's of Education in International Education from Framingham State University in 2011. He has an excellent service record spanning 25 years. He was an admissions record specialist at NMC from 2000 to 2002, decided to be a classroom teacher at Cagman High School from 2005 to 2006, became the federal programs coordinator at the Criminal Justice Planning from 2006 to 2016, a grants management administrator from 2016 to 2023 under the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation until the opportunity came to become the Director of Division of Grants and Financial Integrity, which he holds presently. Mr. Camacho has made significant contributions to the CNMI government throughout his career, fostering positive changes and progress in various areas. His impressive resume highlights his remarkable achievements and his steadfast commitment to serving the public sector with confidence and dedication. Mr. Chairman and honorable Senate members of the EAGI Committee, Governor Apateng and Lieutenant Governor Mendiola have complete trust and confidence in Ms. Sablan, Mr. Salas, and Mr. Camacho's ability to serve on the Board of Directors for the Commonwealth Ports Authority. Their experiences, credentials, and dedication to serving the Commonwealth make them an exceptional candidate for this position. We are confident that they are well prepared to answer any questions you may have and share their preliminary vision for the future. And we ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you, Si Jesus Mosi Zangiliso, for the opportunity to introduce him to this august body, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Regis, for presenting this body with the governor's appointees. And before I recognize the appointees to say or deliver statement, I would like to ask three of you to please rise so that our staff can administer the oath.
Can you please raise your right hand? Vincent N. Camacho Jr., Juan S. Salas, and Carlene B. Sablan, you do solemnly swear, under the penalty of perjury, that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. And I know all of you have submitted all required documents by this body, but if you have anything else that you wish to share this afternoon, you have the floor. I'm going to start from the lady to my left. If you have anything that you wish to share with this body, you have the floor. But before you proceed, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Honorable Chair Frank Cruz, Vice Chair Jude Hofschneider, and members of this esteemed committee, good afternoon. My name is Carlene Sablan. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I am honored to have been nominated by Governor David Apateng and Lieutenant Governor Dennis Mendiola to serve on the Commonwealth Ports Authority Board of Directors, and I appreciate the confidence they've placed in me. The Commonwealth Ports Authority oversees the Commonwealth's 6 ports, which serve as gateways connecting our islands to the region and the world. These ports enable visitors access and commerce, support essential services, and play a fundamental role in the Commonwealth's economy. Through its mission to advance air and sea navigation to and from the Commonwealth to its fullest potential, CPA underpins the connectivity on which our economy depends. While the authority's responsibilities extend well beyond tourism, the visitor industry ties closely to the accessibility provided through our ports. In fiscal year 2025, visitor arrivals totaled 160,640, levels last experienced in the 1980s, reflecting the ongoing challenges facing the industry. These conditions underscore the need for strong governance and strategic forward-looking planning to support air service recovery, diversify revenue streams, and position CPA for long-term financial sustainability. With more than 25 years of experience in both the public and private sectors, my work has consistently required navigating complexity, balancing competing priorities, working with limited resources, and making decisions with long-term implications. These experiences have shaped how I approach governance, and with a focus on discipline, collaboration, and a commitment to accountability and sustainable outcomes. If confirmed, I would bring this perspective to my service on the CPA board. I am encouraged by the continued coordination among CPA, the Marianas Visitors Authority, and other partners as we work to strengthen air and sea access to our islands. Disciplined decision-making and collaboration are essential to ensuring our ports remain stable, resilient, and capable of supporting the CNMI's broader economic recovery. CPA faces a challenging financial environment ahead. Activity at the Francisco C. Ada Saipan International Airport remains well below pre-pandemic levels, and continued disruption in air service has placed sustained pressure on aviation revenues, CPA's primary funding source. While seaport revenues provide some stability, they are not sufficient on their own. This reality calls for continued cost controls, careful prioritization of essential services, a proactive effort to secure grant funding, and the pursuit of additional revenue sources to support critical infrastructure and long-term resilience. With the support of my family, friends, and colleagues, I appear before you today prepared to serve with humility, diligence, and respect for the public trust. I am committed to contributing my time and effort in service to the Commonwealth. Sizus Masi, Giliso, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sablan. Now I would like to recognize Mr. Salas.
Hafare Antiro, Zantiro. Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman Cruz, Vice Chairs, and esteemed members. I am Juan Sablan Salas, a nominee for the CPA Board of Directors. I also would like to thank Governor Apateng and Lieutenant Governor Mendiola for the nomination. I'm truly honored to appear before you today as a nominee to serve on the Commonwealth Ports Authority Board of Directors. Throughout my career in law enforcement, it taught me the true value of dedication, perseverance, and service to others, lessons that continue to shape how I contribute to our community. As a retired law enforcement officer who served both in the CNMI and Guam, I bring many years of experience in safety, operations, security, and experience that I believe can help strengthen CPS ports and support its law enforcement and operational goals. I'm ready to serve and will do my best to answer any questions you may have. If confirmed, I will bring the same spirit of dedication to the board, working collaboratively to uphold our shared values of service, community, and continuous learning. Thank you, Suzus Masi and Giliso.
Thank you, Mr. Salas. Now I would like to recognize Mr. Komatsu.
Hafade, Antiro, Chairman and Senators. Thank you all for having us today. It's a pleasure being here. My name is Vincent N. Camacho Jr., and I am your friend. And I currently work, as mentioned, as the Director of the Division of Grants and Financial Integrity for the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation. I'm grateful to Governor Apateng and the Lieutenant Governor and the administration for this nomination, and I look forward to serving. I have been a public and faith and community servant for all of my career. And when the governor calls on you to serve, you don't hang up. Right? It is an honor and a privilege, and therefore I'm humbled to be here before this honorable committee seeking confirmation of this appointment. I'm aware that the Commonwealth Ports Authority plays an integral role in the CNMI. CHCC works together with CPA in securing our borders, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I know that CPA is also the gateway agency for our tourism-dependent economy, as well as our critical shipping infrastructure. And so with my experience in government finance and federal grants management, I am hopeful and happy to help contribute in any way and in whatever capacity that I am needed. With that said, thank you all again for your time and consideration. Sidus Masi, Giliso, and God bless.
Marcia, Mr. Camacho, and before I recognize the members of the general public that are here in the gallery that wishes to deliver testimony, first I would like to recognize those agencies that are invited to participate. First on the list, the Executive Director of the Commonwealth Port Authority, Mrs. Strelita S. Ada. Is she here? She's not here. I'm here to represent her. You can come forward, sir. And before you proceed with your testimony, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Is that on? Or? Good afternoon, Honorable Senator Cruz. My name is Fred Pangilinan. I will be delivering my Executive Director's statement in support of these individuals. Honorable Donald Minglonia, Honorable Hofschneider, and Honorable Castro. And this body of appointment on government investigation. I will read out my Executive Director's letter to this body. Dear Chairman, I respectfully submit this letter in support of the nomination of Ms. Carlene Sablon, Mr. Juan Salas, and Mr. Vincent Camacho to serve on the Board of Directors of the Commonwealth Ports Authority. While I regret that I am unable to attend the public hearing in person, I wish to express my strong support for their appointment formally. Collectively, Ms. Sablon, Mr. Salas, and Mr. Camacho bring a wide range of professional experience that will significantly enhance the authority's strategic leadership. Ms. Sablon offers valuable expertise in marketing, economics, and both corporate and community project management. Mr. Salas brings years of experience in public safety and law enforcement, offering insights into operational integrity and operational accountability. Mr. Camacho's knowledge of grant writing and financial management is especially vital as CPA continues to pursue external funding sources to support critical infrastructure projects. Their combined background in the private sector, public service, and grant development provides a strong foundation for addressing the complex financial and operational challenges facing CPA. I am confident that their collective insight and leadership will contribute significantly to advancing policies that promote physical sustainability, enhance airport and seaport revenues, and further CPA's mission of delivering safe, reliable, and efficient port services. I believe these nominees will bring balance through leadership to the authority and serve the people with dedication and integrity. Thank you for considering their nomination. Sincerely, Esther Ada.
Thank you, Mr. Pangilinan. You're here just to deliver the message from the, or you also can speak on behalf of the Executive Director if you're needed to be called back for some concern or questions that the member
I have
might
until
have.
Thursday. You can call me.
You can represent
Sure.
the
I'm
Secretary
acting right now.
on her behalf.
Yes.
Jesus Masi.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to recognize the members of the Commonwealth Port Authority, CPA Board of Directors that is here that wish to come forward and deliver testimony.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes para todo Hamzo, miembro este na Committee Executive Appointment, dan Governmental Investigation, especialmente y demeriti este na comités as Senator Frank Cruz. My name is Antonio Blas Cabrera, interim chairman of the Commonwealth Ports Authority, representing Saipan, the 3rd Senatorial District. I'm here to express my sincere support for Governor David M. Apatang's nomination of Mr. Juan S. Salas, Mr. Vincent N. Camacho Jr., and Ms. Carlin B. Sablan to the CPA Board, representing the 3rd Senatorial District, Saipan, and the Northern Islands. Mr. Juan Salas, a retiree with over 20 years of law enforcement experience at CNMI Department of Public Safety, holds a degree in Criminal Justice Administration and FBI process certification. I'm confident he will bring exceptional leadership, dedication, and commitment. Mr. Vincent N. Camacho Jr. with a master's in education and strong experience in grant transactions and federal audit compliance is well suited for the CPA board. Ms. Carlin B. Sablan with a postgraduate master's in economics, including econometrics and applied economics, brings impressive skills. Her degree speaks to her capabilities. In closing, their skills and experience, as evident in their resumes, clearly demonstrates their qualifications. Therefore, I urge the committee to confirm these outstanding nominees to the CPA board as soon as possible. Thank you, Chairman Cruz and honorable members of this committee, for considering my testimony. I appreciate your favorable action. Wells Antonio Cabrera. Thank you.
Jesus Marcia, I believe you're the vice chairman at this time, right?
Yes.
Jesus Marcia, vice chairman. And any other member of the board of directors that is here to deliver testimony?
I was called by my colleague that he won't be unable to attend due to other assignment at the governor's office. And Mr. Bart Jackson is also have other pending issues with at his firm. Ms. Dolores Kiosi also unable to attend because of her other prior commitments in Tinian. She planned to attend this hearing earlier, but since the schedule was changed,
Jesus Marcia, Vice Chair, I appreciate your statement on behalf of the others. It is very important that when we call this kind of hearing, everyone should at least participate since they accept the position to volunteer. But thank you for speaking on behalf of them. And if there are no other members that is available, you excuse Mr. Cabrera. And at this time, before I open the floor for public comments, anyone in the gallery that wishes to deliver testimony, whether you're in support or not, again, I want to remind everyone that any comments that is raised that is not directly related with this hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. So, you excuse Mr. Cabrera.
Thank
you. If you wish to stick around, maybe we might call you back for a couple of questions or concern. I know this is not about this is not an oversight, but there's some areas that I believe your presence is required if you wish to stay back.
I'll be around. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. And before I open the floor for public comment, at this time I would like to recognize the presence of our Vice President of the Senate, a member of this committee, Senator Corina Magofnia. At this time, public comment is now open. Anyone wishes to come forward? Either you're supporting the appointees or not, you're welcome to come forward. But before you proceed with your testimony, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman Francisco Cruz and members of the Senate Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Investigations. My name is Galvin De Leon Guerrero, and I am honored to have served our community for almost 3 decades as an educator. I come before you today in my personal capacity in full support of the nominations of Mr. Camacho, Mr. Salas, and Ms. Sablan. And I thank you for this opportunity to speak specifically in support of the appointment of Carleen B. Sablan to serve as a member of the Commonwealth Ports Authority Board of Directors. I've known Ms. Sablan for almost my entire life as her classmate and colleague, and I can attest that her expertise, experience, and demeanor make her uniquely qualified to serve on this important board. As long as I've known Ms. Sablan, she has always been incredibly intelligent. After graduating as our class valedictorian, she proceeded to earn her bachelor's and master's degrees and developed proficiency in a wide range of skills, including strategic planning, economic development, and community engagement. Ms. Sablan's expertise in these areas will serve the Commonwealth well on a board that plays such an important role in our most important industry, tourism and hospitality, in a manner that also engages everyone in our Commonwealth. Given her proficient expertise, it comes as no surprise that Ms. Sablan has distinguished herself as one of the most accomplished and multi-talented professionals and community volunteers in the Commonwealth. She has done everything from helping develop our economy at the Commonwealth Development Authority, helping make our people healthier at the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation, to helping support our island youth at the Northern Marianas Sports Association. I myself have been privileged to work with Ms. Sablan on several occasions in the many capacities in which she has served. In every instance, she brought invaluable insights and contributions to our work. Insights and contributions she will certainly bring to the board. Above all, however, Ms. Sablan brings a professional and collaborative demeanor to everything she does. In high school, she always pulled us together to do well in class projects. In the community, she has always leveraged different networks to do more for the community. And in business, she has always employed the utmost professionalism to maximize profit and productivity. Indeed, whenever I have the opportunity to work with Ms. Sablan, I look forward to the cool, calm, mature demeanor she brings to every endeavor. Smart, well-rounded, and professional. These are just some of the many great traits that Carleen B. Sablan brings to the table and will bring to the Commonwealth Ports Authority Board of Directors. At a time when we in the Commonwealth need all the help we can get, Ms. Sablan can and does bring the best kind of help that makes a difference. That is why I urge you to support her appointment along with the appointments of Mr. Camacho and Mr. Salas during this confirmation process. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak before you, and Merry Christmas.
Excuse me, Mr. De Leon Guerrero. Still open for public comment.
Buenas tardes para todos. Ojo si Selina Roberto Babauta. Con respeto, permit para a família ni candidato siha ni mangagi menan mizo ni para fan ma balua pagona junta tat como I premujo as Vincent Norita Camacho la hindi funtu Vicente Borja Tudela Camacho mas matungonya como si Bendinga Zani difunta Santi Marcy Norita Camacho. Si Senyor Juan S. Salas, ni sauna manedbi gi zani asagoho gi Departamento ni Pulusia, gwini gi Norte Marianas. Para hamzaloki ni Komite, Executive Appointments and Government Investigations, Chairman Francisco Q. Cruz, buenas tardes. Fiat tumatatsuzo pago na dia como un membro gi mina 24 na Senate para bajo extende sa votación no para candidato siya zan mucho mas para si Señora Carleen Barcina Sablan. Lopod mas como partido zan membro ni familian Señora Carleen Barcina Sablan mas matungo niya gentry familia as Carla. Para bajo extende zan para bajo etsa sa votación no ni maapuntan niya para husaon mo membro ni Commonwealth Ports Authority na board o sino komisyon. Si Carla at silele magigi halumesti na hunta dyan pison legislatura onso dyan munmut na eksperyensya. Respeto para ilay ni kumabeben na hit todos. Dyan inajuda gi halumi komunidata. Esti siya na hemplo gini ni eksperyensya niya dyan responsabilidad niya preciso na kwalidad siya. Gi kada guaha inapunta para manehonti na pwesto siya gini gobernamento ta. Taza dinida gizakuahu na diretso na inapunta esti na kandidato para CPA board sa hutungo kabalis inadahin ni kanahulo niya gini ni gwelo niya as Pedro zani Elena Roberto Kitano Sablan lokwe gini ni pinasensya zana reglon imanena niya as Magdalena Barcina Sablan zani difunto as Dr. Manuel Kitano Sablan maimpatagwi kadko para hu obediente zan responsable para familia niya zani komunidad niya. If there is one thing that is clear among the candidates before you, the nominees today, is that they are all highly qualified. And more importantly, they bring about valuable private sector experience, an ingredient that is critical in many regulatory and oversight committees appointments. These nominees offer a different and fresh perspective shaped by real-world practice, professional accountability, and exposure to evolving standards in our government and the private sector. Their experience outside government strengthens the board's ability to ensure competence, integrity, and independence in a regulatory body. But beyond their credentials, these individuals have demonstrated professionalism, ethical judgment, and a commitment to service that aligns with public interest. Sigun experiensya niya si Carla hariflekta na diligente matsotso para bansa sistema gimasya mono na posisyon ha ukukupa. Maentrega gi quantos na 3 kilo na pwesto dyan geftaw ni tempo niya para ho voluntaryo para megay na organisasyon siya. Sempre hakadga esti siya na sensya para ufaned bigi CPA board zangin makonfirmage. Sen mas si Zeus masi ni attention mizo dyan i tempon mizo.
Si Jesus Masi, Senator Babauta. Still open for public comment. And before we proceed, sir, please state your name for the record.
Jesus Masi, Chairman, then member nesti EAGI committee. Thank you for this opportunity to make comments this afternoon. Mr. Chairman, I know these three nominees in front. I know Vincent here a little bit just from what I read, but the other two nominees, I think I know them very well. But I'm going to reserve my comments on them directly sa benanga no za gini namzu gini na komite za integrity to mizuno pues lo banidoso na qualificación niya no toruri tres no mamaeduca da man experiencial da na sokuna sempre te expecta bonito na resulto mo na nanggien sa kaso tanaw ni confianza no pues gumagizo gini sa como malago lo que recogniza acting chairman si Mr. Tony Cabrera gagi gini tati kumaulo gini earlier si Jesus Masi acting chairman no nay atsatsa gini na sinyonya sa 4 atrabia na membro na ita nananggesti siya manggatsong niya po panalom ko sa ki isi ma nagwa quorum sa gipago gwa na ba na itinaong quorum sa tatsaga iuno tisinya guma quorum za tanisita CPA no fan listo fan natsu za ufan animo sa mamasasapit ito tawtag yanozong Mr. Chairman za tasasangan pa minasapit gayyo gini Mr. Chairman sa itaw luta mampus mamasasapit za no benai no kopia estisia kada unu pisan minti zo za mga nagwa rason gi man mamamaila na ti matungo por man luta gi bantalan isti bandan stevedoring jan shipping services no isti katao gi April 10 2024 is like one of 20 letters that I've written to CPA over the decades, especially over the last decade. And I emphasize again to the old board that they read constantly headline news that reads, for example, due to Southern stevedoring rate hike, economic chaos on Rhoda. Due to new tariff rate, crane use will increase from $290 to $500 per hour. The use of 5-ton forklift will go up from $190 to $325 per hour. The use of the 2.5-ton forklift will increase from $155 to $275 per hour. These are the headlines, and you know, Mr. Chairman, I'm here because after 1 year, you know, last year, they terminated the stevedoring contract, and here we are today. The same thing is happening. I'm sad to say, right, that despite the termination of the stevedoring in his contract in 2024, no, there's still economic chaos on Rhoda. No, shipping rates, shipping tariffs, and stevedoring charges. No, CPA must work with auto shipping companies and stevedoring companies that want to come and help. No, especially those that want to come in and help. Because I have here, for example, and I gave them a copy of a letter from GPPC, who owns one such shipping companies here in the CNMI. And one of the letters that he wrote was back in 2013. I gave the nominees a copy back in 2013, Mr. Chairman, and his boat is like a roll-on, roll-off. Roll-on, roll-off, you don't need a crane to offload your cargoes, because you just come to the shoreline, and either you get your forklift to go in and out to the from the land to the ship and then out. And so you save as far as the crane services and other stevedoring services. So, you know, this letter sat for 12 years. And so I'm happy to say that they recently wrote another letter. Maybe this is like their second, third attempt. So recently they wrote another letter on December 5th, following up on their November 20 letter, that they want to renew that opportunity again for the people of Rhoda, where they can get a space just north of where actually the main port is. And by the way, that area, they need to improve it, but they're willing to improve it so that they can just back in to a ramp that they will provide, they will construct, so that then these goods can be easily offloaded or loaded if it's going to Guam for sweet potatoes, or if they're coming for construction materials to be offloaded in Rhoda. So the thing is, since November 20, I know we're saying, oh yeah, but it's only December, 1 month later. Lo, Mr. Chairman, tempo na mamamadiri si tauta by facing fan is CPA. Kausinya managwa tempo niya dali za mamatsatsun undia za umasatpaste insigida rasa kusaki gininagupa matibat ko ma-offload perfect ko gwa crane pataza crane sa manana alum za ang gwa problema po CRM po BCQ bolo sa problema niya lo nain ino na oportunidad za matsutsuga ano sa ipan matsutsuga tinian za beti ko mo ma-condition na danging gwa bat ko malago potsogi pareo na service pus tugya na gi contract na kinto otro sinya at sogi gi na lo bunga na patafan matsatsa nga za gi mismo tempo mapus guaguan efectus gi za luta pus taza by faisin i nuevo na nomini na por favor no naiste atención saan man di mamasapi di totomomi na po famamonsia no plywood pat 2x4 pat 5 galon pintura nezi ti dobli presyo na guan esta 5 biay mas guaguan no 10 biay ti fahongi za guan bene tausa sa esta batkusya ti janya manono para luta sa no gigo mamatugi guan ti sinya mana fanono sa po debi na do aposes ti siya na serbisyo za no ageno para ne pomapas sempre para i consumer sa giza luta ne pustaza be na carrera neste za by faisin a board member no mata neste. Mr. Chairman, I don't know who dropped a letter at my office. They stuck it under the door and it's something to do with about the role of board of directors and the management. And I'm just concerned what's the purpose of this. It wasn't signed or anything, but it's kind of trying to say to the board that they have to keep their distance, that there's a wall, and that they shouldn't interfere. I totally agree, but the board and the management need to understand that they have to work together, because if I'm the board and I know that this letter is sitting there for 10 years or it's been sitting there for a month again, they're trying to revive it, then it's the board's responsibility. They cannot say that I got the management says no micromanagement. I don't think it's micromanagement to call in the board and say, I want a decision on that letter, let's act on it. No, and so I don't know what is I have to read it carefully. I just got it before the hearing, but my point is the policies have to be made by the board, and the board has to act on these critical, especially economic concerns that calls for them to act as far as our seaport and our airports are concerned. And I have other comments on the airport, but I'm not going to prolong this hearing. We have projects on Rhoda that is under protest and also has to be beaten out. I don't know what are the concerns. Our times today calls for immediate action and getting up and doing things and let's not wait. If we do the project, it means more people can be hired, we can make use of the infrastructure, and we can then improve our economy. Thank you, members. Ugov respectasti tres na manggagi ginulo, Mr. Chairman, za be nanggay zun mizu committee report, lo tunga estafa committee report, pausangan za na positive zo zan magufo para i mamamela sizus masi.
Sizus masi hodon nung kusinan sangan nalmo zo kabalisay committee report.
Inaano si Paul Atalig Manglonya, membro gi Senate na dispensado sa gumaygyo gini sa ti membro so za sinya ha dangi para maplantay komite gi lamasa no sinya manaygwi guana bene ta confirma za manaygwi za tumaza oportunidad para by kwentusi directamente na utsudesin na oportunidad. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Si usmasin na concern za polo za mi ben follow up no gesti tres. Still open for public comment?
Hafide Tiro, Senator Chair Cruz, and fellow members of the Senate as part of this committee. My name is Eleanor Cabrera, and I'm sitting before you sort of a hybrid of a representation of a few things. As a private citizen who has known Mr. Camacho and Ms. Sablan for quite many years. I believe I first laid eyes on Mr. Camacho as a young boy in the state of Washington while I was still in school. And of course, Ms. Sablan, like Dr. Galvin, we ran around as the class of 91 in Mount Carmel School. And then, of course, I'm also a colleague of theirs at the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation. So I'd like to just be able to share some of my thoughts and express to you how proud of I am to support Ms. Sablan and Mr. Camacho's nomination to the CPA Board of Directors. With their extensive backgrounds in fiscal analysis, economic development, and strategic planning, they bring a wealth of knowledge that will strengthen CPA's financial oversight and long-term vision. Their professional track records, they speak for themselves. They demonstrate a commitment to sound governance and a commitment to sustainable growth, qualities that are essential for guiding our ports into the future. I am also a business owner for over 15 years here in the Commonwealth. So I speak from the heart, especially as we navigate very difficult times in the Commonwealth, that together these nominees embody the forward-thinking leadership our community needs. Their combined experience will help ensure that the Ports Authority continues to serve as a vital gateway for commerce, innovation, and prosperity. I am very confident that their contributions will enhance the CPA's ability to meet challenges, seize opportunities, and deliver lasting benefits for the economy and the people it serves. I humbly seek the committee's support and appreciate the opportunity to express my thoughts before all of you today. And Chair, if I may, I'd also like to read an excerpt of a personal letter I did submit to you on behalf of Carlene Sablan, being one of my closest friends for over a few decades. And if that's not dating us, I'm not sure what is. But I want to say that additionally, Ms. Sablan's selection as a Pacific Century Fellow and her membership in the International Economic Development Council reflect her standing as a recognized leader committed to professional growth and regional development. Her extensive community involvement, including her current service on the Make-A-Wish Guam and CNMI Board of Directors, further demonstrate her dedication to the well-being of our islands and their residents. The CPA is at a pivotal juncture, facing significant financial pressures while also pursuing infrastructure modernization and regional leadership in aviation and maritime services. Carlene B. Sablan has the economic expertise, grants management, experience, stakeholder relationships, and proven leadership to contribute meaningfully to the board's deliberation and help guide CPA towards long-term stability and growth. I kindly request for the committee's support to confirm her and Mr. Camacho today. Thank you.
Susu Small Sia, Ms. Cabrera, still open for public comment? Anyone else in the gallery? If no one else, at this time I close public comment. And I would like to ask Mr. Devin to disclose a letter of support or not in support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Mr. Camacho, Mr. Salas, Ms. Sablan, and members of the general public. In addition to the oral testimonies received today on the executive appointment of Mr. Vincent N. Camacho Jr., Juan S. Salas, and Carlene B. Sablan to serve as members of the Commonwealth Ports Authority Board of Directors, please be advised of 15 additional written testimonies officially received in support of the appointees from Alicia A. G. Limtiaco, former Attorney General of Guam, Honorable Selena R. Babauta, Senator, 24th Northern Marianas Commonwealth Legislature, Honorable Daniel I. Aquino Jr., Representative of the House of Representatives, 24th Northern Marianas Commonwealth Legislature, Warren F. Villagomez, Chairperson, Marianas Visitors Authority Board of Directors, Antonio B. Cabrera, Interim Chairperson, Commonwealth Ports Authority Board of Directors, Catherine Nato, Vice President for Corporate Affairs, Tan Holdings Corporation, Ramona S. Flores, Esther S. Fleming, Nicole Babauta, Eleanor T. Cabrera, Esperanza S. Borja, Ellen Q. Camacho, John J. Santos, a joint letter from Francisco A. Ada, Richard Bossa, Patricia Concepcion, Canice Diaz, Maggie Cook, Maggie S. Sablan, Janice A. Tenorio, and a joint letter from Ricardo C. Bloss, Secretary General Oceania National Olympic Committees, and Kelly D. Bloss Larridge, CEO of the Oceania Continent Handball Federations and Games Operations. At this time, no written testimonies in opposition to the nominees' appointments have been received by the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Macoranas. At this time, I'd like to recognize the members of this committee to raise questions and concern in regards to the governor and lieutenant governor's appointment. At this time, I'd like to recognize the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Karina Magofnia.
Sidus Masi, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to everyone in the chamber. First of all, I'd like to congratulate every single one of you on your nomination. And thank you for taking the commitment to help the CNMI make important decisions that affect every single one of us. And so, upon review of your resume for every single one of you speaks for itself. I really have no questions at this time, Chair. The only thing that I would really ask, based on the testimonies that we heard from our honorable senators Selena Babauta and Paul Maloney, is that should you guys be confirmed, that you come together, cooperate, and collaborate, for the betterment of our people. I hear the struggles from the people of Rhoda, but, I think every single island in our Commonwealth is experiencing some form of hardship, right? It just depends on the level of hardship that they're experiencing. So my only ask at this time is that should you guys be confirmed, to just come together and make good decisions for everyone. So at this time, Chair, I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. This time I'd like to recognize Senator Castro.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, I just wanted to thank Governor Apateng and Lieutenant Governor Mendiola for the nomination of these nominees. Your resumes are very impressive, so I also like to thank you for your service both in the public and private sector, and also extracurricular activities. And you know what I mean for some of you. I have 3 questions since there's 3 of you. 3 questions for each of you. First, I'll start up with Ms. Sablon. What do you believe is the CPA's most critical role in reversing the CNMI's economic decline?
Thank you, Senator Castro, for that question. I believe at this time, CPA's biggest challenge right now is expanding air service to our Commonwealth. We all are struggling financially. Just about every government agency is in need of financial resources, and so we need to expand air service and other non-aviation related activities so as to generate revenues to allow us to provide the resources to get what it is that needs to be done, be it infrastructure development or rehabilitation and whatnot, or expanding other essential services that CPA provides.
Thank you, Ms. Sablon. The next question is for Mr. Solis. How well do you understand the CNMI's Jones Act exemption, and how should CPA leverage it to reduce shipping costs and improve competitiveness?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Senator Castro. I'm not too familiar with the Jones Act at the moment, but we'll look into it and familiarize myself about it.
Okay, thank you. I would just recommend, like, as a board member, really getting into that, just because right now there's a lot of issues with trade globally, and and I feel that we can leverage a lot of those opportunities, especially with all your connections in Guam. There's a lot of advantages that we have that Guam doesn't. So, thank you, sir, for your comment. The next question is for Mr. Camacho. What opportunities does the covenant create for attracting new shipping lines or transshipment activity?
Thank you, Senator. So, sorry, just to clarify that you're talking about the CNMI covenant.
Yes, with the United States.
With the United States. So I'm not too familiar with any details within the covenant, but definitely, along with the expansion of the air service, as mentioned, bringing in tourists, and also I'm also thinking about the seaports as well, bringing in revenue as well, with the shipping coming in through all our islands, different ports, and so anything that will help generate revenue to help out the economy is just something we really need to work hard on getting. So.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Second question for Ms. Sablan. I believe Senator Paul kind of brought up this issue, but what do you see as the proper role of CPA board versus CPA management?
Thank you, Senator. As far as I know, I believe the board whose responsibility is for policy, right? And as much as possible, we want to try to get management to handle the affairs that they should be handling. You know, there are some things that need to be elevated at the board level, and I respect Esther and her team at CPA, and so our role is to really work with her in getting what needs to get done in the best interests of CPA and the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Ms. Sablan. Second question for Mr. Camacho. How should conflicts of interest be handled, particularly in a small island economy?
Thank you, Senator. So, with conflict of interest, so just with my background with federal grants management and procurement, government procurement regs, we really and audits, right? We really have to ensure compliance with conflict of interest, and I know it's maybe kind of difficult with a small island, and so that's why we really need to, as Vice mentioned, come together and as a board and really look into any potential conflict of interest, whether in procurement or or personnel, and try and comply with our regs, rules and regs as much as possible. So we'll try our best.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Second question for Mr. Solis. First of all, sir, I just want to thank you for your service. I did see a lot of recommendations earlier. And this question is, what would you do if you believed a CPA decision was legally permissible, but not in the public interest?
Thank you, Senator. But I believe that any decision made by the board or the director should always be transparent and approved by the board.
Final round. This question is for Mr. Camacho. We'll go ahead and skip this question since you kind of answered it earlier. So we'll move on to Mr. Solis. And I just wanted to, maybe after you answer your question, I'll just kind of explain a little bit. But how can CPA strengthen its local workforce while meeting technical and regulatory demands?
I think one of the issue is in order to improve manpower-wise, the board should look into into the salary structures of the employees, and that we should retain professional, qualified employee that would help the authority.
So I just wanted to share this story because, there's two ways. Right now there's also a lot of opportunity. My dad is a former retired CPA employee, but for cost-saving measures after he retired, the CPA, I believe they decided to contract everything out for a lot of the activities that was being done, both on the maintenance side and the landscaping side. In the 90s, when the tourists would come in and you see all those Tassi tour buses, and you would see all the flame trees really lit with Christmas lights. Nowadays, with all the grant funding, we just tend to just buy those Chinese Christmas lights that are artificial with lights already, rather than really taking the time to light up the actual natural trees that our tourists come to see. I remember a time when my dad and the entire staff of CPA for that specific unit were flown to the Philippines to get the training that they needed, and I even have a copy of his certificate. I have pictures of all those employees that were getting the training. There's two ways to train the local workforce. It doesn't always have to be through college and higher ed. Nowadays there's also career technical credentialing, short-term classes, industry recognized, and I just wanted to say that sometimes we really need to look deeper into the details, because some of those decisions, yes, it may look nice on the surface when you contract everything out, but sometimes when you look into the actual figures, not every contractor can get clearance into certain zones of the airport, so you have to have a full-time shadowing that person. I myself used to work at an airport in Portland, and I also had to submit all my fingerprints and stuff to get those kind of clearance. So at the same time, when you contract things out, it ends up being double job, because you have to have the person with the right clearance shadowed, depending on where they're at in the airport. So, and I believe this has also been brought up by previous board members, how certain contracts are more costly than the revenue that it's bringing in. So given this time where people are struggling to find jobs, I do recommend that we can look into those, training our workforce. A lot of the people at the airport before didn't have a college degree, although yes, we do promote it, but some jobs just require industry credentials. So sometimes we can save more money by providing those short-term trainings to our local community. And the last question for Ms. Sablon, but yeah, we'll stick with Ms. Sablon, although it applies to all of you. If confirmed, what is the first policy or operational issue you would ask CPA management to address, and why?
Thank you, Senator. The most immediate, I think that I would require a sit down with management, because I'm not very well versed with like the priorities that management has. You know, I would look at safety and compliance, if there are any outstanding right now that need to be addressed, and that would be a priority. I want to share with the committee that we just took a tour of Saipan's ports, airport and seaport last Thursday. I took the opportunity to go on that tour, and I have to say, you know, the departure area and the retail area that used to be where DFS operated, it's very bare in there, and we need to do something. You know, The airport is the first and last impression, right, that the visitors get when they come and leave the CNMI, and it's important that we get return visits if we want to increase our visitor arrivals. And so, with your specific question, it requires a sit down with Esther and the team, but we already have some things in mind that we will be bringing up to them and hope to, tackle. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say, in line with the statements made earlier, very impressed by the resume by all three of you. I just wanted to stress the importance of looking deeper into the data and the details. I'll give an example. A lot of our tourists come here, and yes, signs are beautiful. We keep putting up signs, but the biggest complaint on the with most tourists is the restrooms at the different tourist destinations. So the same method can be applied in CPA, is really looking deep into the details, what matters to the tourists. Is it transportation? And likewise for the seaport, all the vendors and potential investors, how can we assist them and further grow our economy and serve our community? Thank you. Chair, I yield.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Now I would like to recognize Floor Leader Donna Manglonia.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon to the nominees as well as everyone present here in the chamber. I just want to point several things out. Mr. Blon, you mentioned two items that I feel strongly about in terms of safety and compliance. You brought that up in your last response. I do want to invite you to the other airports, Rota and Tinian, especially Rota. As Senator Paul had mentioned, we've received some updates. The last update that we got was there was a protest. I think the deadline to respond to that protest was on November 7th. It is currently December 15th, and nothing has been done yet. And so I hope that if confirmed, if all you three are confirmed, that's one of the priorities that CPA should look into and just ensure that the awarding of this contract or the start of this contract can be done expeditiously, in the sense that if you just look at the condition of the apron and the canopy at the Rota Airport, it's becoming a hazard, not just for the people that work there, but for the traveling public. I just came back from Rota yesterday, and the section where they kind of blocked off is getting larger because a portion of the canopy is deteriorating quickly, and so I hope that that's one of the action items that could be considered upon your confirmation. Now, I know you guys represent a 3rd Senatorial District, but you guys are the majority decision holders, right? Compared to the one representative that we have on Rota and one on Tinian, I hope that with your support, that's something that could be looked into and hopefully can be resolved quickly. You also brought the traveler experience, and I've also mentioned this to Bill Manglonia's nomination. There's so many that can be done with the departure area. I mean, we always talk about this collaboration. There could be some collaboration between Indigenous Affairs Office, Carolinian, or the Chamorro, the Carolinian Affairs Office in, I don't know, maybe inviting our artists to display some of their products at the airport, or even sell some of their products at the airport. Do something with the space instead of leaving it bare or waiting for the next bid to use up that space, right? But also in line with that, I hope that maybe you guys can look at the rental rates for some of the spots of the airports that could be utilized by other vendors. On Rota, again, I just want to bring this up because you see tourists walking out of the airport because the vendors that are situated outside, they don't want to pay the fee to enter the airport and pick up passengers there, and so they would have to walk out of the airport and have them be picked up by the main highway, which is quite a distance. But I mean, maybe that's why we see tourists, walking all over with their luggages, right? But I hope, even if you charge a minimal rate, it utilizes the space. you still get some revenue as opposed to just sitting there, you know, and that way, I don't know, maybe if it's competition or just giving tourists more options, I hope that that's something that all you three, if confirmed, can also look into. Another issue I wanted to bring up is CBP. So right now, how it works is the two airlines that services the inner islands all the way to Guam would have to fly over a CBP officer to Rota, clear passengers, fly that officers back. And that's why we don't have flights on weekends, because of the extra time it takes to bring an officer down and all of that stuff. Prior to the recent retirement of the Honolulu director, there were talks of doing virtual clearance, and so I hope that CPA can also work with CBP on seeing if that's still an option. That way, you know, these carriers can offer more flights between Guam and the CNMI, and that could possibly reduce the cost of inter-island travel between the CNMI. Are all you three familiar with cabotage? Yeah.
Not too sure.
So that's where international airlines can't travel between any two U.S. territories, right? U.S. points. However, what we've recently were told was that there's nothing that stops, let's say, Jeju from coming in from Korea to Saipan, Saipan to Guam, Guam back to Korea, provided that there's no U.S. citizen on that flight over to Guam or Guam to Saipan. And so maybe discussions can be had. I know MVA is also working on it, but you know, the collaboration between CPA and MVA can possibly reduce the cost, whether that be the case. But that would allow tourists coming in from Korea, right, to stop by here, or even transit through Guam to go back to Korea, if that might be a cheaper option. But whatever it takes to try to reduce the cost, because we all know that the challenge is the weakening of the currency in Japan or Korea or Philippines. And then considering Philippines, in March, if we're expected to get that Philippine Airlines, I mean, the pesos have gone, you know, have gone up. It's like 59 to 1 right now. So those are some options that could be looked into, seeing as how these airlines already service Guam, and so how can we assist them in trying to reduce the cost, and also reduce the fare. So another area of concern would be looking at the employer relations. The JGL committee had recently adopted a legislation that came from the House that would essentially establish a union, but it also kind of feels like it stemmed from some conflict between management and the employee. And so I hope that whether it becomes law or not, I hope that CPA can really look into the concerns of the employees under CPA, and also that if you compare the priorities or the responsibilities of Rota or Tinian employees versus Saipan, there seems to be some, how do you say this, disparity between their job duties and their pay, right? On Rota and Tinian, you have officers and employees performing dual roles, when here in Saipan you have employees serving one role, on one responsibility. And so, you know, that affects morale. That's why we see a high turnover of employees within CPA. And so I hope that those are some of the things that could be addressed as part of some of the first things that, you know, you guys can look into if confirmed. And then the last thing I want to bring up is the military lease that I'm not sure if the board had already decided on or it's still in negotiations, but the last update that we got was that they were working on, I think, the appraisals but the one thing that I asked is that you offer the people of Rhoda the opportunity to comment on whatever the final decision is or whatever outcome that has come out from the appraisal, as well as any assessments that were done, whether it be environmental or otherwise. This would be kind of like the first military presence that will be on Rhoda, aside from all these trainings that take place on a yearly basis. But having these storage facilities within the airport on Rhoda is something that is new, that our people feel like it may be a start of something even bigger. And so I hope that every opportunity is given to them to voice out their concerns and see if that's something that CPA would need to address. I don't think I have any questions other than going off of your responses. I know this is I know Senator Cruz might say that because this will be your first time to serve on this board. Really, there's not as high of an expectation for individuals who are coming in for the first time, and obviously you need that time to really work with the management and see what things can be addressed, and we're always open to assisting CPA in whatever endeavors you'd like to pursue. We've exempted the seaport revenues to allow CPA to operate. That's one thing that we've worked on, and so moving forward, whether it be any other changes to the policies or statute that prohibits CPA from fully implementing some of its initiatives, I work ready to assist you. But I also ask that you work with MVA especially, so that whatever initiatives they have or whatever concerns they bring up with you guys, that's something that can be addressed. And like what Senator Custer had mentioned, even if you guys come in and you fix the ports, if there's nothing being done to the surrounding areas or the infrastructure, there's it's a bait and switch situation, right? We advertise the cinema as this great destination, but once they leave the airport, I don't know what they're coming into. So other than that, thank you all for your presence here today. I look forward to seeing what you have planned for CPA, and again, if there's anything we can do to assist, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. Thank you. Are you, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Floor Leader. Senator Cabo, you have the floor.
Thank you and good afternoon, Chairman Cruz and colleagues, and to all our nominees. I'd like to thank you on behalf of, first of all, I'd like to thank the Governor and Lieutenant Governor for their nomination in regards to the three credible candidates. All three resumes speak volume for your years of service and contribution, both on the private and the public sector. And also with Mr. Sablan in the law enforcement and criminal justice, reviewing your prestigious experience in regards to helping and assisting Guam. So you have two large perspectives. I'd like to commend you all for taking this opportunity to move forward in supporting CPA's needs, under serious important issues and concerns and decision-making processes. As I take a look, thank you. This is Vicente Camacho Jr., representing the voice of the Carolinian community. As stated, it's always important that we get, everybody in our community, and be proud and thankful that you are, a successor of, based on your education, your experiential background. CPA is going to need your assistance, your expertise for the grant management and funding, requirements under FAA, working with our, lead, what's the Estrella, Miss Ada, and the current board members. So we look forward to your expertise in those, funding areas in regards to having CPA. And I know the Seaport has its own funding account, and they have to supplement and help and assist each other due to the air industry, not receiving the income based on global unforeseen circumstances as well. So Mr. Camacho Jr., thank you for your expertise in becoming, a board member. Mr. Juan Sablan, like we did have our colleagues mention in the Senate, Senator Donald mentioned that we do have a voice for air rescue, fire, and even Department of Public Safety. So these are the forefront leaders in the law enforcement area, both community and airport. So we look forward to your criminal justice background and law enforcement expertise to listen to their voice as they declared, I think it was last week, to push forward, at least be heard, and we come up with some solutions on helping them with their required standards, and that we move forward so we can keep that retention of certified personnel in place for long-term purposes. Then we have Ms. Sablan, Carlene, you just writing on my footnotes here, marketing and economic management. Thank you so much for your expertise. I know with compliance coming around every year and managing even both of you, I think Vincent and Carlene, dealing with the healthcare system, that's a big duty and responsibility within itself. So we look forward to your expertise in, safeguarding these policies and seeing what revisions may need to be made, in moving forward for our Commonwealth on all three islands. We do invite you to the municipalities of Rota and Tinian as well to, hear their voices, their point of view, from directorship to all the different departments that run the airport and seaport, and find out from them, firsthand, what are the current issues and how they have plans to overcome them with your guys' help in the leadership, the board membership as well. We did how, what I always mention, I did travel from Saipan with Senator Donald on a couple months back, and looking at selling the experience for not only our locals, but the tourism industry, knowing that we do have vacancies in certain areas. And I did interview some of the personnel working there, if we can continue to support local products, local everything from shirts, doni, what we may have, because I know they usually go around the way looking throughout the islands, and then they come to their last destination, which is the airport, and they may not have everything that they need. But that one-time shop for local products, that'd be an outstanding development if we do have, some sort of agreement. I know we cannot exempt, but I was looking into some sort of taxable fee performance metric, based on gross revenue, because we've experienced it in Rota where one industry shut down, we have flat fixed rates for rentals, and it really kills small businesses. And I'm pretty sure they're aware of it. and you guys will too as you go along. So those are some of the things that we can overcome together and help improve our economy and generate the revenue needed to sustain our ports, air, and sea. So I commend you three for stepping to the plate as we look forward to your confirmation. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, colleagues. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Cobo. Any other members wishes to recognize our Vice President?
Thank you, Chairman. No questions, just additional recommendations, if I may. In this entire conversation as we are having, I'm listening, and three things stood out. So we talked about first impressions, we talked about safety, and we also talked about compliance. And I would have to agree 100% that the first impression and the last before they leave is very critical in ensuring that we have return visitors, and not just return visitors, but also spreading the word amongst friends and families. I mean, that's marketing in itself, right? And it's free, and we spend so much money trying to market our islands, right? Of how beautiful they are, and indeed they are, right? But we could do better. Right? As was stated earlier, when you come into the airport, it's pretty bare. And it's so sad because all three islands have so much to show for. We have beautiful tropical plants and flowers that we can showcase to these visitors that have only really seen those flowers and plants on magazines or on TV, yet we have them here on our islands and we are not proud enough to show them off. I think we can do better. And I know that, for some that they would say that costs money to bring those plants in, but I tell you, our community is so resilient and we are very family oriented. And so I'm pretty sure that if we do some kind of a drive where we ask for help from our people, our own people, to donate whatever plants or flowers that they may have laying around their yards, I'm pretty sure we can get a good amount of plants and flowers that we could place in our airport, So again, use what we already have, right? And it's free to us. We don't even have to import those plants or flowers into our beautiful island. So let's make use of that. We talked about safety and compliance. Definitely a must, right? Because we don't want to have any potential liabilities for non-compliance or safety. And I bring this up because I just returned from a trip, and I've seen this before, and I kind of mentioned it to the prior nominees when we had the public hearing, but I still see the same thing. Nothing has been really done. And what I'm referring to is as you deplane, right, and you head towards customs and baggage. I'm not sure if the elevator there is in operation, but we have to be mindful of our elders, our disabled individuals, and families traveling with children, especially ones on strollers, right? But more so like, are we ADA compliant? So we talk about compliance. We need to, I would like to ask that you guys look into that to make sure that we are complying with federal requirements. And also just the liability aspect of it, because right now the only way to get to customs and baggage is to go down the stairs, and it's quite hard when you're traveling with kids, especially younger kids in strollers or just all the hand carries that you have. So we have to be mindful of the safety, but also the impression that we give our first-time visitors, right? And so I just wanted to share that, and hopefully, you know, when you guys come together as a board, that those are just some of the topics that you would look into, as it does make, they may sound very immaterial at this point or very small in nature, but you'll be surprised the impact that it has. So the small things that we could actually change now can make a really great impact in the grand scheme of things. So I would also like to encourage that the board review any existing regulations and policies that may no longer apply. You know, I don't know when the last time the regulations or the policies were updated, if there are things in there that are no longer applicable, or if there are things in there that we need to create and implement. You know, I highly recommend that. But other than that, honestly, you as professionals, you know, I have every confidence in you guys that you will do the right thing and take the Ports Authority up to the next level. We have to think positive, and we have to be optimistic that the nominees that are being sent to us are very capable, and I believe and I am confident that you guys are those nominees. So thank you again for accepting the nomination. It's quite a commitment on top of everything else that you are doing, but it's very commendable. So thank you to each and every one of you. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, Vice President. Recognition, Senator Castro.
Just really quick, since we're talking about the vendor space at the airport, you know, we also have to look into the prices. If the rent is very high, then the price is very high. And given the exchange rate of our guests coming in, I know some of you probably travel a lot, but it's also good to look at our competitors, whether it's Thailand or other places that our tourists are going to in reference to our airport, and see what the competition is like. Because, you know, when I was still working at the college, and I went to Hong Kong when there was Hong Kong Express, and I saw the conditions, because like now I'm a tourist going to Hong Kong, so I'm riding with the tourists, and there's not enough benches at the airport. Same thing going to Korea. You know, like with that open space, there's other opportunities, and I really like what was said by Ms. Sablan of diversification. So it doesn't have to just be like DFS. It can be a restaurant like they had in the 80s. I don't know how many people remember there was a full-fledged restaurant on the second floor. Back then, there's no aircon in the second floor, but there was a restaurant with aircon and a nice open view. Same thing on Rhoda. On the top floor, there was a snack bar, and they changed it just like the hospital. They changed it from a space for the customer to an office space for the employee. So customer experience, that's what we should be looking at, not customer service. Customer service is like, oh, we messed up, here's a refund coupon. Customer experience is knowing your customer before they arrive and knowing what they want and expect. So that's really what we have to take our, you know, start thinking from that perspective. Because if we start practicing customer experience management, we're not going to have the rates that we're experiencing right now with decline in tourism. We need to know what our competition is, and I know I'm preaching to the choir because you guys are well versed in all these terminologies, but just a reminder, because like Senator Karina said, we still see the same problems. This is the second round of nominations, but you know, so I also like to thank our chairman for expediting the process, because without you know, a functioning board, the CPA can't operate. Thank you, Chair Yo.
Thank you, Senator Castro. And again, good afternoon, appointees. I appreciate accepting this responsibility, or those not paying responsibility. It's just a volunteer basis. I appreciate that. However, you know, I hate to get involved with CPA operation, but it leaves me no choice but to raise concern in regards to what's happening. And I'm pretty sure every one of you understand the the divert airfield, the military divert airfield that was leased for property at CPA. I understand it's the authority of CPA to spend the money, and I wanna let you know that the leadership of Tinian are deeply involved in the negotiation of getting that funds to assist with the infrastructure at Tinian. And like I said, it is the authority of CPA, but I was expecting that the board should completely understand which area was leased. I'm not saying to spend the whole $21.9 million in the island of Tinian, but at least to address critical issues, critical areas, to avoid liability that might arise. I'm not hoping for that, but we have to expect the unexpected. For example, for Tinian, the funding that was used from the 21 was only $4.9 million just for the parking lot. And my major concern is at least to purchase fire truck, because if there should be a incident occurred at that Tinian airport, I don't know what is the understanding between the city defense and the ARF. And even if they have an agreement to assist, which is, I believe in the past they've been doing that, but the timely manner that the responding time in regards to any incident that occur at the airport, if we don't meet the time, that will come to some kind of a lawsuit against CPA. I understand that CPA revenue right now is not doing any good because of bad economy. And I'm saying this because with our ailing economy and having critical issues that been oversight, that will bring us to more lack of funding. I don't know whether CPA have the capability or the funding to pay for any kind of lawsuit. If they have, then we'll be fortunate, to have that. But I'm very disappointed not, addressing those critical matters. That's why it lies on the board of directors to make that policy decision, then passed down to the executive director. That's why I was hoping I invited the executive director to be here, and I know that Mr. Penglinen is here on behalf of that, but if I have to call him into, and I don't want to put him on the spot because he's not the executive director. Maybe perhaps the vice chairman can come out and sit up here, although this is not an oversight, but I think this should be addressed so that it will not happen in the coming future. Because like I said, that 29 that was negotiated is because to alleviate those questions that we have in Tinian, the seaport and the airport. But at least, like I said, at least to purchase fire trucks, because there's a lot of thing going on in Tinian, the military activity, and that fire truck was purchased back then in 2015, and I don't know whether that fire truck is already out from the shop, but if not, then I don't know how CPA can respond on a timely manner when there's an incident happen in Tinian. So I raise this because this is very important. That's why I expect whenever this is what I wanna ask all of you, that when this committee call for a public hearing, we ask that when you're invited, if you can come, and if there's nothing emergency that will hold you back, I think it's better if you come and see whether or not you can be able to work with that appointees when you get in. Otherwise, we don't want to, be coming in and you cannot work alone with the others, because we're not looking for that kind of mentality. Is you cannot work with the other members. We're expecting that when you are given the blessing by this body, you can be able to work with the other member for the betterment of our Commonwealth, and even with the CPA family, the CPA staff. That's why I asked. I share the same sentiment with the members of this committee. But that's most important is we have to have at least consideration. No? I know that it's always the main that calls the shot, because number. There's not it's the same as the Senate. It's and the legislature. It's a game of number, but doesn't mean when you say game of number, we're not gonna consider the fairness of all the senatorial. No, we're here all together to work for the betterment. Because if Tinian or any senatorial district that rise, all the other island rise as well, because we're sharing ideas, we're sharing every single income that comes into the Commonwealth. We're sharing the same pot. I know that we're not funding CPA, but in some ways, when there's a need to subsidize, the central government subsidize. Yeah, and that's what we're looking for here is working together, to improve our economy. I know it's very sad. Like I said, it's very sad. At least buy a fire truck so that we can be able to, to avoid those, liability against CPA. So I ask that when you guys come into that board, maybe you raise that issue, how those matters can be resolved, rather than waiting until something happen that CPA cannot even afford to pay. I'm not trying to show or inform the company to do something that is not right, so that it can be able to go against you, CPA. But this is something that we have to always expect the unexpected. And I know Mr. Salas, he knows exactly what I'm talking about when during the academy. You have to expect the unexpected. You cannot always think that everything is okay, but you have to expect what is coming. That be ready. So I ask that I have no personal issue against the board. What concerned me is they did not consider. I know that there's a lot of debt that they have, and I didn't mention earlier, but I inquire as to how that fund was used. Until now, I haven't received any, and I think it's not difficult to let us know, how that's spent, right? There's nothing to hide. Members of the appointee mentioned earlier that transparency. So let's be transparent. Let's help one another. And like I said, I'm not saying that we're going to spend the whole 21 for Tutinian, but something that is very critical and very sensitive should be addressed, rather than just exhausting that fund without making sure that the safety of the passengers and everyone is protected. So again, I just want to ask one more time that when in the future that there's a call, I ask that you participate in this matter, so that we can be able to also share with us your experience, whether or not the appointee that is sent over here for our advice and concern can be able to work with the board, or not able to, because the requirements that we ask, we've done our part. We don't know what's happening outside. Not everything that we know about that person, but that's why we conduct public hearings, so we can hear the sentiment of our public, whether there's something else that is very critical and important for us to understand, rather than putting people in there and cannot be able to work with the others. So again, I know everybody is struggling. I know that airlines also having problem with CPA. I hope that can be resolved and see how we can, because when CPA and company are having problem, the consumer are getting most of the, the burden, like, high rate of flying from just a few minutes to reach their destination compared to flying on a bigger airplane to a more farther area. So I hope CP and airlines can be able to resolve their conflict. So and lessen the burden on the flying customers. So again, I appreciate your time. I know this is just a voluntary basis. I hope that with your primary responsibility will not hamper your primary responsibility with having having this kind of responsibility and in your role. So again, I appreciate your time and devoting your time to the people of the Commonwealth. Anybody else wishes to? No? Thank you. And I appreciate Vice Chairman for staying back and Mr. Pangilinan. I think I'll yield for that, and maybe perhaps your three colleagues can work with you and see how we can help one another. With no more further question or concern to be raised by the committee, at this time I would like to I'd like to say that all public comments are well taken, and let the record reflect that all written testimonies will be included in the committee recommendation report along with oral testimonies and will be forwarded before the full Senate members in consideration for confirmation. At this time, before we adjourn, we would like to extend on behalf of the members of this committee our sincere appreciation to Governor David M. Apateng and Lieutenant Governor Dennis C. Mendolas, Representative Mr. John Paul Regis, the Special Assistant to the Administration, along with Amy Shai, the appointees, Mr. Vincent N. Camacho Jr., Mr. Juan S. Salas, Mr. Carlin B. Sablon, and most especially the members of the general public for your participation and involvement during this important public hearing process. And we certainly hope that we continue this dialogue of communication between us, the elected officials, and the public to keep you abreast and informed of our current and future Senate hearings ahead that relates to the public best interest. This concludes this public hearing for today. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn, Chair.
Second.
There's a motion for adjournment and was seconded. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. This public hearing is officially adjourned. Jesus Masi.